pumps throughout your body. Remember, blood is delivering
Hello?
oxygen and nutrients to all of your cells, particularly to that very demanding organ sitting inside your skull, the human brain. Within about 15 to 20 seconds of your heart stopping, you lose
Reconnecting
consciousness. This happens because
from
your brain,
Gaming,
which makes up only about 2%
because I
of your
deleted
body
the
weight,
account.
but uses roughly 20% of your oxygen supply, is immediately starved of that oxygen.
So I'm gonna go live.
The neurons in your cerebral cortex, the outer portion of the brain responsible for consciousness, thought, and awareness, starts to shut down almost immediately. But here's where things get interesting.
Is Minecraft?
Even though you're unconscious and your heart is stopped, your brain does not instantly die. In fact, research shows that measurable brain activity can persist for a short period of time after the heart stops beating. Several studies have documented.
Bro, but like, you know how shitty that will be if like those, like, is it gonna be a cool memory and like something that's nice? Because like, what are the odds that like you have a heart attack, you're dying, your brain's starting with oxygen,
The hell
your
is
brain's
this?
still functioning and showing like
Get out of here.
your conscious memories.
I'm not playing this.
And it's just like dog shit, you know, like fucking weird, weird memories. You're like, why am I thinking about? And then you die.
Bullshit.
Like I think back to like, you know, fucking.
Y'all saw that? There's a bunch of
people always joke,
trees
will be like, when I die, I'll
in the
see
villager
this. It'll be
house
like
there.
OG Minecraft season 3 Fortnite.
Everyone
like,
in the
what if
audience
I
right
die,
now.
I'm like going back to my Concord sponsor, right? And I'm like 85. I'm like, fuck, wow, I
Chat?
forgot about that game. And
Where's
then I
chat?
die.
Organized
Like, and I'm not joking. Like, I know that was a joke to use, like, Concord as an example. But I'm saying, like, what if it's just, like, some stupid fucking memory? Like, I'm just, like, remembering me at, like, some random time. I'm like, why do I care about this?
activity in the brain for minutes following cardiac arrest. In some cases,
There we go.
EEG recordings have shown brain waves continuing
See.
for up to 10 minutes.
This is where I
Although
was.
this activity rapidly becomes
This is
weaker
where I
and
left
more
off. Why am I so
disorganized
laggy?
over time. A 2023 study published by the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences observed a brief surge of gamma wave activity at the moment of death in a small number of patients after life support was withdrawn. Gamma waves are often associated with processes like memory retrieval, information integration, and conscious awareness. However, it's important to note that being gamma activity does not necessarily mean a person is consciously experiencing these events.
I just don't want it to be a scared death. You know, like, I think having a good emotion at the moment of your death is great. You know? Like, if I'm gonna go out, not if, when I go out, it would be awesome to be able to be happy in those last
There we go.
moments,
Come on.
You know? Or just, like, not upset. Like, that would suck if you're, like, dying and you're consciously aware that you're basically dead and you're, like, freaking out about it in your own brain. Like, that would suck. Because then it's like, oh, fuck, I'm dying, and then the lights go out. Like, obviously you're not going to look back on it and be like, oh, that was fucking did. But, like, it would be nice to go out with a bang than a fizzle.
Simply shows
Just
certain
been
neural
talking about
networks
this bullshit for
That's
like
one thing. This is random
10
side
minutes.
conversation. I know I joked about this where my friend was like,
the video has like
talking
no
about
correlation
how
either.
if there was like a terrorist on a plane, he would be like, I'm dying about it. And he was like, I'm going to run at them. And I think that carries through with anything where it's like,
Oh shit.
you know how in movies there's like somebody's
guy's
pointing a
not
gun to your
terrible.
head and you're like begging for your life and then they still shoot
Oh,
you?
shit,
Like,
this
what a
guy's
shitty way to die. Like, I feel like it's better to be like, fuck you, and like attack. And then you die that way versus being like, you know, like bleeding for your life and then getting shot. Like, that would suck.
become briefly active during the dying process. But how is it possible for brain activity to continue at all after the heart stops? Well, one reason is that neurons don't run out of energy instantly.
What would you say is the worst death, like an awful scenario? Being in a coma that you're consciously aware of, and then dying.
My god though.
Like, that's really fun. I think that's like, well, like, obviously you could say, like, being burned alive, right? Yeah, drowned.
Yo, what the hell is
But I'm
happening?
talking about, like, a conscious awareness of, like, you're in a coma and you
Kinda
can't
gone, right?
move, but you're still aware. And it's like a prolonged coma.
Continuously. While neurons do not store energy in large reserve,
Hearing your family pull the plug on you, well, that
Oh.
would never happen.
they do
Little
contain
boy.
very small, rapidly turning over amounts of ATP.
But if drowning's supposed to be very peaceful, I think that's freezing to death, not drowning.
they're
What can I do if I
overheating
steal
the
this?
moment circulation stops. Neurons also contain a small amount of phosphocreatine,
Alright.
which can briefly buffer ATP levels for a few seconds when energy demand suddenly spikes.
Oh,
In
I'm
addition,
a bitch.
neurons can temporarily rely
But,
on anaerobic energy
good thing
pathways, such as glycolysis, that do not require
have
oxygen. Also, cells in the brain called astrocytes store small amounts of glycogen, which can be broken down into lactate and shown to the neuron
in
as an
form.
emergency fuel source when blood flow is lost. However, all of these backup systems are extremely limited. Without oxygenated blood, mitochondrial ATP production rapidly collapses. Ion gradients across neuronal membranes fail, and normal electrical signals break down within minutes, which is why prolonged cardiac arrest leads to irreversible brain injury and death if blood flow and oxygen is not quickly restored. These short-lived energy buffers may help explain why organized brain activity can briefly persist after the heart stops, and they may also contribute to some of the vivid experiences people report during near-death states, which again, we'll talk about more detail later on. Now, while your brain is going through this process, the rest of your body cells
Why is there bodies in the background? This is a set. This is like a classroom. As you can see, there's chairs.
also beginning to die, but at different rates. Your brain cells are kind of the divas of the human body. Neurons begin to suffer irreversible injury within about 4 to 6 minutes without oxygen, but other cells are more resilient. This is
bar.
because any of these cells have larger glycogen.
I just find like
There you
neuroconnections fascinating. Like there's a part of there's like electrical impulses in my brain that can formulate a visual
Something like that.
image of a memory I had 15 years ago in my mind. Like I'm literally seeing myself as a green stretch band in preschool in my brain. Like, how the fuck is it holding that information for that period of time? I understand, like, yeah, the electrical connections and the neuroconnectivity in your brain and how brain memories are processed and stored. But like, where is that memory getting
This'll work.
stored for that period of time? And then what's
With
even
this.
weirder is that you have a level of memory recall
Because I can open
that you
trapdoors.
can't control and memory recall that you can. Like, if somebody were to ask you, do you remember this? And you were like, oh yeah, and you could go through the memory and you
Boom.
could visualize it in your brain, and maybe it's like you in preschool going down a slide or something, you'd be like, the slide was yellow, I remember this, blah, blah, blah. But then there's memories that you don't recall, you can't recall, until something triggers a connection that's like a broken bridge that's restored, right? Like you hear a song that you haven't heard in 10 years, and then randomly that sparks a memory of something that you haven't thought of in a decade. And otherwise would seemingly be lost forever, right? Like if say I'm like, you know,
Oh,
just
that's
going
a
through my
little
day and I hear a song, I'm like, wow, that brings back a memory I haven't thought of in 10 years. If I hadn't heard that song, would that memory be lost in the cosmos of my brain forever? Or would it still stay there in some sub-unit of my brain? Like, where is that?
Glycogen reserves, lower overall energy demands, and a greater ability to rely on anaerobic metabolism when oxygen is no longer available. Skin cells, for example, can survive for several hours after death. Believe it or not, some cells in the body can remain metabolically active for days. In fact, studies have shown that gene activity in certain cells, such as certain white blood cells and muscle satellite cells, can still be detected up to about 96 hours after death. But just like the neurons, these cells eventually reach a point where they can no longer generate enough ATP to maintain normal function. Ion pumps begin to fail, calcium floods into the cell, destructive enzymes are released, and the cell essentially begins to digest itself from the inside, a process known as autolysis. During this dying process, there are also physical signs that medical providers look for. The skin may become pale or take on a bluish tint, especially in the extremities due to the lack of oxygen in the blood. This is called cyanosis. Breathing patterns may also change dramatically, and in some cases, providers observe a pattern called Jane-Stokes respirations, where breathing becomes irregular, with periods of
Dude, it's like the death gurgle, is what they call it. I've heard it before, bro. It's fucking scary. Where like they're in the hospice and they're dying,
treating all.
and they only breathe like 3 times a day. Like right now, you're probably breathing like
I like you might not even follow
constantly, or
through
just, like
with the
inhale,
cashew
exhale,
thing.
inhale, exhale. But when you're dying,
Might just do like a
you slowly
regular
breathe
schmegular.
less and less, to where like you literally might go like. That's what it sounds like. And then you won't breathe for 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes. And so it's like, if you're somebody that's watching somebody in hospice, you're supposed to wait like a long time, and then you call somebody to come proclaim them as dead. Because like, you might actually think somebody's dead because they're not breathing, but they're still alive.
Rapid breathing followed by periods of no breathing at all. Body temperature begins to drop, though interestingly,
Not breathing
Nice.
manually? Okay, sorry.
in some cases there can be a brief spike in temperature shortly
Nice.
before death. The pupils of the eyes
It's not
are fixed
bad.
and dilated because the muscles controlling them are no longer receiving signals from the brain. And in many cases, there's a release of urine and stool as the sphincter muscles relax. Not
Do
the
some
most
with this
distinguished
button.
aspect of death, but it's the reality of the physiological process.
Can't do
Now,
anything
earlier I
cool with the
mentioned
button.
that phosphocreatine
Nice.
can help buffer ATP supply when a neuron is starved for oxygen during the process of dying. And we do know that creatine supplementation can increase your stores of phosphocreatine. Now, I'm not suggesting that we supplement with creatine to possibly increase neuronal activity for a few more seconds during the dying process, because there are plenty of other reasons and benefits to supplement with creatine while you're still alive. And that's why I want to take a
Nice
second to say,
one.
wait, expound on today's video, creatine. It's created the first creatine monohydrate. What happened?
Oh my god, are those fucking creatine gummies? Dude, I hate those. I don't think that's that brand. I hate those creatine gummies that people promote on TikTok Live. They're like, and they're eating a whole block. I'm like, yo, you're gonna have kidney stones. Like, you're gonna go into like kidney failure if you eat them like that. Like, you're supposed to eat like 2 for a serving, and they're just like munching on them like they're gushers. Yeah.
Happens after we die. Okay, so let's say someone has been declared dead. The heart is stopped, the person is no longer breathing, and there's no brain activity. What happens to the body in the hours immediately following death? Well, first up is something called
Yo, should I hop back on creatine, bro? I really want to get into lifting more, bro.
alber mortis, which is just a fancy Latin term for
You're not right now. I haven't been on creatine in 2 years.
cooling of the body. Your body normally maintains a temperature of around
This one.
While my grandma was dying in her home, I went over to her and sat beside her. I often went into shock because she's breathing so irregularly, sometimes once a minute. That's what I'm saying. I can't understand how your body slows down so much. It's trying to conserve energy, but it's also like literally like your organs are actually dying. CL thank you for the sub, and I'm sorry for your loss as well. Ajax and Adrian for the sub. Yabo, thank you for the 3. Kitty, thank you for the 3. Quan, Ajax for the sub. Andrew Ryan for the sub. Cloak, thank you for the 3. TNR for the sub. Zombie, thank you for the 3. One of my dad's brain were dead for a while before he died, and he started living in the past, mentioning people he'd never had before. It's crazy how the brain works when the close to death and declining. Kelser for the sub. Wish for the sub. Bell, thank you for the sub. I'm sorry for the loss as well. Arrow, thank you for the 3. Thinking about buying gamers some flavors, what do you recommend? For the top cases, it's really good.
Oh, that's
But
right.
I haven't tried many of the tops. I drink a lot of the RTDs. Benji and Sparta, thank you for the
Like a
subs.
magic
Spider and
club
Ice, thank you
work
for the sub.
with this,
Best
the
bang for your
best.
buck, Benji for the tops. Seven, Jackson, thank you for the sub. Post and Ice, thank you for the sub. Put bar. Coyce for the sub.
What the fuck?
clock at 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit or 37 degrees Celsius, ongoing metabolic processes. But once
about to
these
say.
processes stop, your body begins to equilibrate the ambient temperature around it. Early on, the body is estimated to cool at roughly 1 to 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit per hour, though this rate is not constant and can vary widely based on factors like the person's body composition, what they're wearing, air movement, and the surrounding environmental temperature. This is actually one of the methods forensic scientists use to help estimate
6.
time of death, but it's considered an approximate tool rather than a precise measurement because of all of these variables. And next is liver mortis, also called lividity. Remember, your heart is no longer pumping blood through your vessels, so gravity takes over and blood begins to pool in the lowest parts of the body. If someone dies lying on their back, you'll see a purple to reddish discoloration on the back of the body, buttocks,
Surefire.
backs of the legs, where the blood is starting to settle. This process typically begins within about 20 minutes to a few hours after
Woodworker.
death and gradually becomes fixed over time.
See, bro, this is like more and more where I'm like, yo, why do they gotta drain my ass for just throw me in the woods? Throw me in the woods. Like my Korean philosophy professor said, let them eat. They often by about 8 to 12 hours to feed the animals in the wilderness, depending on conditions. Fixed means that if you press on the skin, the discoloration will blanch, and it will no longer shift to a
Shit doesn't
location
work
its
well.
body is
Could explode it.
Oh, so there's no like, if you go like this, it wouldn't like
Oh, God, I messed up the,
refill. It'll just stay the same. Yeah, you're poking a dead body.
This phenomenon is also used in forensic investigations.
What's uncanny if you've never been to a wake or an open casket funeral is every person you've ever touched is warm. Even if they're cold, it's like, oh, it's because my hands are cold. Like if you touch like somebody's forearm, you're like, oh, they're warm. When you touch a dead body, it's room temp, and it's like it feels not like a mannequin, but it feels off, like really off. And obviously you can think that, but you don't recognize it until you're actually like, oh, and you touch the hand of a dead person. It's like, yeah, they feel really dead, even if they make them look alive.
Because if a body shows fluidity in areas that don't match how the body was found, it suggests that the body was moved after death. Then we have probably the most well-known post-mortem change, rigor mortis, the stiffening of the body. This happens because of what's going on at the cellular level inside the muscles. Remember how the cells lose their ability to produce ATP after death? Well, ATP is actually required for muscle relaxation, not just for contraction. When a muscle contracts, little protein filaments called actin and myosin bind together.
Wait, so when you die, you can tighten up like that? Like just naturally?
Unbind them to relax the muscle, you need ATP. But after death, there's no ATP being produced. So initially, for the first few hours,
I'm not making this whole conversation, but isn't that why some people tried to say that when Charlie Kirk got assassinated, he was just dead immediately, and not like when they were saying like, oh, we might be able to save him, because he immediately went into like this fixated state.
hours after death, muscles are actually relaxed because there's still some residual ATP present.
That was a reflex.
This phase is actually called primary placidity. As that ATP gets
Rigor mortis takes hours. Then what the hell happened with him?
used up, the actin and myosin filaments become locked together, and the muscles become rigid.
Hands folded is due to brain damage. Oh yeah, because people in X Games do that, right?
Okay,
like,
how to
if you
make
see
this?
a guy go for a skate trick and he like falls on his head, it's showing severe brain damage. Because they'll go, like their arms will go like straight up, or not straight up, like in rather.
Rigor mortis typically begins in the smaller muscles of the face.
Holy fucking bomb.
God, bro, that is a naked man, dude. Thank fuck they blurred that shit.
Maximum rigidity at about 12 to 24 hours after death, depending on conditions. And interestingly, rigor mortis reverses. After roughly 24 to 48
Pretty sure I
hours,
can make it a lot
ongoing
more.
lipolysis and bacterial decomposition causes muscle proteins, including actin and myosin, to break down, which causes the protein bonds to dissolve and the muscles begin to relax. This phase is referred to as secondary placidity. And there are obviously
What?
I don't want to say I don't give a fuck about any of this, but I don't care about any of this shit outside of what I'm consciously gonna see. Okay, when I'm dead, my body will turn purple and I'm gonna shit myself. Awesome. I'm dead. Why do I need to know that? Right? Like, I'm gonna put, okay, I'm dead, I poop my pants and fucking piss myself, and my blood starts, you know, fucking pooling at wherever gravity. If I die standing up, it's gonna pull on my feet. If I die laying down, it's gonna pull on my fucking back. Awesome. Right? I'm dead. I don't care. I'm dead, I don't care, because I don't exist.
Like,
Right? So, but whatever happens to my meat sack is, you know, up to the fishes. You know, they can fucking eat me, for all I care.
other changes.
Oh, I'm embarrassed. I pooped myself. I had bigger problems. I'm dead. I have bigger problems. I'm dead now, right? Actually, I have no problems anymore, because I can't have a problem.
Is happening as well. The corneas of the eye become cloudy within a couple of hours after death. Because
Yo, that's what dead fish look like.
it's cells that normally pump fluid out of the cornea stop functioning.
No way we're gonna do
Dehydration
all
and
this.
swelling. And if the eyes are open, this clouding can happen even faster due to evaporation. The skin also begins to take on a marbled appearance, known as marbling, which occurs as red blood cells break down and bacteria spread along the superficial blood vessels during early decomposition, creating a blanching,
Oh my god!
purplish pattern beneath the skin. And even the
How do they fix that? Or you're like a mortician. Do they drain all that out? Like, how are they fixing your fucking skin? You know, makeup. Well, and they put you in clothes. Normally at a funeral, you only really see the face and the hands, maybe the forearms. Everything else is covered up because they close the top part of it. Well, no, actually, they do have that open. You're wearing shoes and everything.
Alright.
bone may not be obvious
Dressing a dead body must be really weird.
on the outside. Decomposition is already beginning at the cellular level within minutes of death, as cells undergo autolysis and start to break down from the inside. The more dramatic visible signs of decomposition.
So they'll see your penis. Yes, they'll see your penis. Unless you get cremated. Actually, even then, they're probably stripping you naked before they put you in the cremation. So, yes. Who said dead?
Position, however,
Like you're excited? I don't want that. Why do you care? Why do you care? You know what I mean? Like, oh my god, they're gonna see your dick when you're dead. Bro, they're gonna see your dick when you're dead. Okay, awesome. Right? Who cares?
take longer to develop, but also there's bacteria.
Because it's small. Yo, ideally, you're gonna be like 85. Yo, at that point, they're not really caring, right? You're not even caring at that point.
That lives inside you, especially in your gut, like in the intestines. And this bacteria break down tissues and produce gases as a byproduct. This process, known as putrefaction, sets the stage for bloating and other visible changes typically develop in the next 1 to 7 days, again, depending on environmental factors.
They won't know I'm a grower.
Are you ready to level up? At the University of Arizona Global Campus, we're here to help you advance your skills. Learn in 5 or 6 week classes and earn college credit for life and work experience you can get only in the real world. Explore over 50 industry-aligned online programs designed for working adults who never settle. It's time to move forward in your career. Get started at uagc.edu.
You even know you're like, yo, please don't judge.
But now,
Yeah, I
let's
need
shift
this
gears
one,
and
guy.
talk about something that's absolutely,
Oh my god.
frankly, still pretty mysterious from a scientific standpoint. Near-death experiences, or NDEs. Near-death experiences
Near-death experiences we had to watch when I was a senior in college. Actually, I was a junior. Senior set my junior year. It was really weird because they only offered it every 2 years, and I had to take a junior year because then if I didn't, I would have had to be a fifth year. Anyways, junior year, taking senior set, we had to watch this documentary. One class about NDEs, and then also we watched a documentary about people. Side note, I'll get back to the NDEs. We watched a documentary about people that were able to recall a previous life that they had had. This was really unrefutable, unexplainable from me, and I don't want to say it's kind of leaning towards like some level of spiritualism, but it wasn't weird. Where
Dude said
there were
spiritualism.
instances, you could look them up,
What the fuck
where like a
are you?
5-year-old would be like, my name was blank and blank, and I died in a plane crash in, Vietnam or Japan. And he would recall like very specific things that were feasible to him, and they would fact check this shit and it would show up. And as they aged, they would forget it, and they wouldn't even be able to recall it themselves. Like they interviewed this one like 15-year-old kid, and they were like, "Do you remember any of this?" And he was like, "No." But when he was like 5 years old, he used to like avidly talk about like his past life. He had lived. Part of me is like, it's fake, but I don't really know about that. NDEs are weird because like near-death experiences, people try to use as a means to prove their religion. So it's not, you can't use an NDE as proof for anything. Christianity's true though. I'm not saying Christianity's not true. I'm not saying any religion's not true. I'm saying NDEs aren't usable for any belief set, atheism or not. Right? Like, I'm not going to use an NDE to be like, well, some guy said he's all nothing. Because a near-death experience, you're not actually dead.
I don't even
Your
have
heart just stops
absorption.
and your brain is like tripping
Do
out.
I? Oh.
Are often life-changing, profound psychological events, close to death, or in situations where death seems imminent. These can occur during cardiac arrest, severe trauma, under anesthesia, or even in situations where
So I
someone
can get my
thinks they're
emails
about
from
to
this
die,
dude and
but
this
are not
dude.
actually in any physical
Thank you.
danger.
Also
Here's the
get them
thing
from this
that makes
dude. You get
NDEs
mending
so
from this dude,
interesting.
which you don't even need
While
at
they're
this
not
point.
identical, many near-death experiences share many
No
recurring
meaning.
themes across
No
different
meaning.
cultures, ages, and
No
backgrounds.
meaning. No
People from
meaning.
completely different parts of the world, different religions,
Meaning.
and different time
So-
periods often describe experiences with overlapping features. And even though the exact details can vary, this pattern of shared themes has researchers so intrigued. Research by Dr. Bruce Grayson and others has identified several core features of near-death experiences. Not everyone experiences all of these features, but one of the most frequently reported features is an out-of-body experience. They describe a sensation of separating from their physical body, from an outside perspective, often from above. Some people report perceptions that later appear to match specific events that occurred during their visitation.
There it is.
Am I
There's bamboo
insane? I
planks.
feel like
Where the
there's an
hell is my
experiment
bamboo
they
planks?
tried to do where
I'm
they
gonna replace it
held
because
like
I'm just fly
a...
better.
Oh my god, maybe this is
Come on.
literally just like fiction. I feel like there was an experiment where somebody with an NDE, like every time there was like somebody that was dying, they would have like a number or something that was like pointed towards the ceiling that they couldn't see, but they would ask you if you knew the number. Yeah, there was like a post-it note above you in some way. NDE experiments above find this. This is like the way that I'm describing this is like it's like a note on a table. I don't know. Oprah experience. Oprah experience. Okay.
Four steps.
Cardiac arrest.
I'm on
Oh,
5
there you
grams
go.
of mushrooms right now. You look like an apple. What type of apple?
Didn't know that.
Shit, tell me I'm a honey press. I hope I'm not a Granny Smith. Or like a Macintosh. That would be the worst.
Ooh, I could make
Survivors who were successfully
Chest.
resuscitated
The chest
reported
right
some
there.
form of recall experience during their cardiac arrest.
40% of cardiac arrest survivors that are successfully resuscitated reported some form of recall experience during cardiac arrest. Yeah, because they're still somewhat conscious.
Although many of these experiences were fragmented or non-specific, and only a small number involved structured awareness. It's also important to note that clinically dead in this context refers to the absence of detectable pulse, not necessarily the confirmed absence of all brain activity. Around 30% of people who have NDEs also report
This is for, like,
some
leftover
kind of tunnel
trash.
or dark space. This is often described as moving toward light, sometimes rapid.
And guess what that light is? When you're squeezing out of the hole when you're born. That's proof of reincarnation there, brother. What's the light? You're in the fucking womb.
So now,
your consciousness
go like
is being
this.
inserted into another person.
Relief and sometimes
I'm not saying I believe reincarnation, but that does make sense.
sensation of light. The light is often described as brilliant, warm, loving, and unlike any earthly light.
Alright.
And many people describe it
Okay, maybe it's not.
maybe it's not the hospital lights, presence, or personality. Plus, in positive NDEs, about 80% of people report an overwhelming sense of peace, contentment, and unconditional love. Many say they didn't want to return to their physical body, but there are a small percentage of NDEs that can be distressing instead of positive. But many people also report encountering other beings, often deceased loved ones, and the identities of these beings frequently aligns with a person's cultural and religious background. Some perspectives, and some describe reaching a boundary that they understand they cannot cross if they want to return back to life. So what is actually happening during these experiences? Well, as we've learned today, we know the brain doesn't instantly shut down. We know brain activity can briefly persist, and in rare cases, show transient surges after cardiac arrest, though this activity typically declines rapidly. We know certain neurochemicals are released, and much of this could possibly explain what is happening during near-death experiences. But we don't know how to fully explain detailed, coherent experiences or precisely when they occur, especially during periods when brain activity is expected to be severely impaired. We don't know how some people report perceptions that later appear accurate during periods of presumed unconsciousness, particularly given the limitations of EEG and other monitoring methods.
Oh, but you just can't take any of that shit for fucking fact is the problem. Like, I want to be like, oh wow, the overwhelming sense of love, there being a better thing after. I'd be like, oh, that's sick. But it's like, they're not dead.
And we don't know why these
Because anybody that, and nobody's actually died and come back. Like, you could say you've been like, oh, declared dead, but that's because your heart stopped. You could say like, oh, I died. I died from being bad.
experiences show recurring themes across many cultures and time periods. So yes, physiologically, we do know quite a bit about what happens as a person dies. The heart stops, consciousness fades within seconds, brain cells begin dying within minutes, and the body
I didn't know
Jesus did.
the other ones.
Chats. You know, I'm saying like you're on the hospital bed and you're declared brain dead and then come back. I'm not talking about the crucifixion of Jesus. I'm saying the experience of somebody. You know what I mean?
Body undergoes predictable changes over the following hours. But what happens to consciousness, to that sense of you, remains a very interesting question. Whether near-death experiences represent consciousness of the brain in this life, or whether they reflect the brain's final neurological activity. These experiences continue to challenge what we think we know about what happens after we die. And maybe that's okay. Maybe some questions are meant to keep us wondering, or at least keep us wondering until that moment when each of us finds out for ourselves.
Yep, that's true. Unless you get hit by a car. Or die. Or get shot. Or something like that. Like there's a few things where it's like,
Boom.
no, that's not a guarantee. But that was a good video. Got a little boring in the middle when he was talking about the blood pooling shit. I was like, I'm not really tapped into that. But yeah, Chad, I gotta call that there. V6, thank you for the 5K videos. Highlight updates kind of big. I know you're playing that tomorrow. What do you mean highlight updates kind of big? What update? Thank you for the 3. How many tattoos do you have? I don't know. What are you, Dave? If you feel comfortable talking about that. I have to leave. I have a meeting, Chad. You can ask me about it tomorrow. Well, thank you for the 5. Got me through the work, brother. Thank you. I'm glad I made it help. Flex and Captain 7-3 both things. Sun President. I got a damn chat. I'm gonna be live tomorrow at 1:30 or 2 EST. We're doing a highlight 2. Probably for the whole stream. Sunday I'm gonna be live at 1:32. We're doing reacts. Monday I'm probably gonna be live at like around 3:34. We're gonna do the S&P and then show with the dad. Tuesday I'm not live. Wednesday is the AHA charity stream. Thursday I'm not live. Friday's
Wait, no, I
finishing
have
highlight
those.
2. We'll Resident Evil Requiem will start. We're rating full. We just started the stream. Appreciate y'all. Thanks, I think it's up to you, the sun. Thanks, Susan. Love you, brother. I can start. We're going to rate. We are a just chatting / react day today. We got a lot of videos we're going to be watching, a lot of products that we're going to be potentially ordering, chat, because we're going to be doing the first part of a 2-part NC series. So, if you've been in my, chat for a while, you know that time and time again, I'll do product reviews where you guys send in suggestions and then I go through. Well, okay, see now here's how it works. You guys send in suggestions. You send in 5,000 suggestions. 98% of them are absolute dog. I love the odds, W-odds, sift through that and suggest the products that they think would be funny, fun, stupid, scary, blah, 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 and review. I get like 50 from them. I might add like 5, 10 myself, and then we go through those and pick like 20 to like 25 that work. And then when they come in, we do the second part, review it, piece those two together, bang, use it out of Amazon, use it out of Temu. And today we're going to be doing it with Etsy. So we're going to be going over, I think, like around 50 Etsy products. And normally we would go through all of them and then we have like a straw poll where you guys vote for like what best 10 you like, and then we just take the top 20 and do it. I kind of hated that process because it's like you're just gonna fucking forget what products you enjoyed. So I think instead we're just going to do, we go over the 50 and every single one, we're not gonna do a poll, but you guys are just gonna type, you know, yes or no. Yes meaning buy, no meaning don't buy. And then, you know, we'll mark down which ones we get. We'll have a maximum of like 25 soft, 25, you know, we can order more, if not we don't. And then the only other rule is I get 3, count them, 3 vetoes. I'm allowed to say no to 3 products that chat says yes to. Okay? Because some of the things that you guys suggest are, you know, really stupid, or annoying, or lame. That's lame, that's not lame, it's fair. Chat, I give myself 3 vetoes as a safety net. I only end up really using like 1, maybe 2. Dildos, I'm not gonna include the dildos, those are just null and void. We're not actually going to be going over those today. Are we ready, chat? We have 40, voice crack. We have 48 products to go through on Etsy. When I tell you I thought about trashing this idea, I've done Amazon, I've done Temu, I went Etsy, that's cool. Oh, fuck, everything is literally like custom-made products. So, it's like, these are, it's not weird, it's just like, first item, lock in.
I cannot get that out.
I get 3 vetoes. Remember, type yes or no if you want me to order it. But keep in mind, we have a 25 item pack. So, if you say yes to the first 25 items, then we're fine for the last one. So, you know, it's been a gamble. A deal or no deal type
Can I even get him out?
Editor, can we blur this mark including camera thing? See, all rip, I'm noticing the price tag. Chat, you're not losing your mind. You did not just have a stroke. That is actually $256.95. And the product is 19
I guess not then.
wide and 29 centimeters tall. How many inches is 29 centimeters? Because I feel like $200 for a product that's not yay big, that's pretty ass. It has a 5-star review, so I don't know who the fuck would buy this. Chat, this is a waste of money. Who would pay that amount of money for this?
This is all I need.
Ass. Also, I kind of assumed that Mark Simpson was a bit of a shark type stuff then. Due to this being a pre-order, red fur color might not be the same as the picture. I've also had to switch the chairs I use so they're a bit different than picture. This will
That's
not
not a bad
ship
idea.
before Christmas. Takes 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, he's gotta go out and find that. He looks like a distinguished fine gentleman. I agree. I think this is a yes. Okay, so we're gonna write down yes for the taxidermy racing on a chair
No.
monocle in the cut. Next product. Not bad, not great. Excited to see what chat thinks. A strawberry milkshake scented candle in the shape of a strawberry milkshake. I think this thing is most definitely a fire hazard. I think Candle Wishes is probably making
What?
these straight out of
It's
their
gay.
and I think this might be a little scary to leave unattended because I'm curious how the wax melts
See how
in
it is.
this middle figure part here. Is it edible? I don't know. I would want to take vitamins. I'm gonna go with no. It is a soy candle. And this is getting a lot of twos. Chat's voting no for soy candle. Not shocking.
Can you just do
at all. Read that. Strawberry milkshake.
moss Instagram?
Next one, I know this is going to be a yes from chat. I don't even really need to show you guys, but I know you guys are going to want to see it. An authentic Captain America shield. I mean, that looks actually pristine. Oh my god. Shiny aluminum. When I tell you I feel like throw this thing like a frisbee. And
It's
it
just not
comes with
picking
a
anything
trash.
up.
Is that just a trash can lid?
I mean,
Is that a deformed trash can lid? No? No, it looks horrible. Who cares? Whatever, it's Captain America. It comes in different sizing. I would probably get the biggest one, $800. Holy! Could I settle for the 24-inch? Why is 6 inches another $140? What the fuck? 24, that's fucking nuts, Jack. That's fucking nuts. That's average. You gotta go big or go home. I don't know. 30 inches for another fucking $150. It's handmade. Yeah, but do you think he's like bending the metal himself? I wonder how that works. Do we settle for the third? Do we settle for 24 or get the 30? See, here's the, oh my god, it's on sale.
so I guess it's a
It's
no.
30% off. It's normally $425. Do you think that's a scam? And they're just saying it's on sale, so it's sale, so
think.
it seems cheaper. 24 or 30. Okay, well you guys are obviously gonna vote 30. It's not your mind. All right, I'll write it down. Wait, hold on. Let me edit it. 30 inch. 30 inch. You're rich, Joe? Yeah, but what the fuck am I gonna do with the shield after the video? I could be Captain America next year for Halloween. My cosplay is Captain America. Oh, okay, yeah. No, yeah. I'm not upset. $300 purchase in the fucking books. I didn't really set a price limit for this one, but I do have 3 Vitas, so if we see something that's like too expensive, I'll just remove it. Is this not a fursuit, but it is a ear and tail combo? Husky ear and tail set. Shepherd dog
So
ear
it's an obvious
cosplay
probably.
set for conventions and Halloween. Is that authentic fur?
That's fixable.
Pass. We're getting a mixture here. Can we get a poll? Going? Right now we passed on 2 and said yes to 2. Okay, you can't have the third option on the poll be Joe's ball because now we're having inaccurate poll ratings. Can we get a re-poll? Because 21% of votes for Joe's ball. 55% yes. Barely on the yes right now. Okay. Lock that
Alright.
Next one. See, I don't know. This is too much of Marvel. We'll see. What do you guys think? It is a wearable, tactical black. Is this Black Panther? It says bat helmet, but this looks just like Black Panther, right? I think that's like a copyright thing, or they might not be able to say Black Panther. It kind of looks low quality, if I'm being honest. Oh, that's Batman? This looks like Black Panther.
What?
That does not look like that. Oh, it is Batman. That looks like Black Panther's mask, though, doesn't it? In Marvel Rivals.
This doesn't work.
The ears. That's Batman, you fucking idiot. Okay, why are you a shitty mesh helmet that you spend like $80
I mean,
on.
I thought that
And
would
they
work.
give you like a straight, like, it looks like it's a worn down, like, batarang, but it's just gonna be like a flimsy, like, aluminum batarang. Alright, this one got voted down. Your forehead's too big. Yeah, I wouldn't fit in the helmet. I would wear it and the eye holes would be up here. Because it doesn't conform to my head. Tactical bat helmet out of the books. Next one. This is just slop. What are these fucking products? What are these fucking products? Danny DeCito. Fridge magnet. It is a 3D printed fridge. Hilarious Danny DeVito Cheeto matchup. Oh, it's so funny. Wow. $6. It's an easy purchase. It's a stupid purchase, but it's an easy purchase. $6. Okay, we get it. Next. Well, I love these. They're always so cringy. They're always the worst products. Okay. The fucking insult card deck. Insult a week for a year. Contains 52 cards featuring some of the most creatively offensive insults money can buy. If you're going to be two-faced, at least make one of them good-looking. That is not the most creatively offensive insult money could buy. I think ChatGPT can come up with better insults. Another example here. Don't worry, the first 30 years of childhood are always the hardest. Why is there a quantity button? Order more than one of these. Chat, this is a sleeper pick. I think we get this one. That's lame. I don't give a fuck. I'm getting it. I'm also allowed to buy a product if I want to. There's an unlimited purchase amount from me. You guys have a cap. I'm allowed to say yes if I'm going to say yes. So I'm going to get that. It doesn't count on the 25 limit, okay? We're getting the insult cards. Because it'll be funny. And then I'll use them when people are mean to me in Marvel Rivals. Somebody's like, dude, you're fucking terrible. I go, oh yeah? I bet your mother hates you. Oh yeah? Oh, wow. Being 25 and still living with your parents is so cool. Oh yeah? And then I pull out another card. That's fucking cinema. We're getting totally $80. What a fucking steal. I wonder what the texture of this thing is. The all-seeing brain. Oh god, it comes with an eyelash. Does it move? No! No, that's so bad. That is so bad. Oh my god, is it wet?
Item hopper.
It's $44. Oh, you picked the eye color. Blue, brown, green, or red. I feel like the red one is the creepiest. But the blue one looks the most realistic. The red one doesn't look like an actual eye. People voted yes. What color do we get? Blue? The blue one looks the most real. Like it has the texture to the eye. The other ones just kind of look like solid. I'll write down official IMDb top 100 movie scratch off poster gift for movie lovers, film fans, premium art friends. So it's just a list. What do you scratch off? It's just do you scratch them off as you watch them? Like if you've seen them, that means you scratch it off. Kind of like how you put like a sticker for national parks on like a water bottle. I mean, that's not that bad. But who's going to the IMDb top? Do you guys do that when you find a movie you want to watch? You just look at the IMDb top 100. I mean, if you're like a big movie connoisseur, that's kind of chill. But this is like useless for like stream unboxing. Like, what the hell am I gonna do? Yeah, there's no content there. I agree. Skip it. Oh, see, this is not.
Getting to speed it up as you choose a pen and shovel.
A 3-pack of Nick Charizard I'm saying right now I'm not smoking tobacco. If I get that product, the last thing that would be, I would smoke crack out of that before I smoke tobacco out of a fucking bowl. You're kidding. You will? I don't think I've ever bought tobacco. I bought cigars. If you buy loose tobacco, if you buy loose tobacco, you're over the age of 55. I don't know
this is
anybody that's like a millennial
crazy
that would buy
expendable.
that. Alright, yeah, I know chat's gonna vote yes. Alright, next. I'm such a fat fucking chud in t-shirt, self-deprecating humor gift, funny sarcastic quote reference. Now, this is clearly AI on this, like, woman with 4 dream catchers behind her. I mean, how many dreams do we have? I feel like this woman in the photo is probably the last person that would buy and wear I'm such a fat fucking chud shirt. The lady would not be wearing that. That's what I'm saying. You need to get like a gamer wearing it. Some guy that's like, I don't know, maybe Doom queuing like a Val lobby. Well, they come in so many different colors. Yeah, she's wearing like short jean shorts. Steak is the epitome of the guy that would wear I'm such a fat fucking chud shirt. Exactly. Steak the
It just
YouTuber.
doesn't stop.
I feel like I should gift this to him. Should I
Okay,
buy
sure.
two and ask him to ship him one? Alright, okay. I don't know what color he is. Probably black. Alright, next. Oh no! Oh wait, no, I have the backup on this one. I was gonna say this one's sold out. Okay, wait, I'm gonna show you guys what you guys suggested and then what I found as a backup. I didn't really review most of these. I just ended up looking at them to see if they were like sold out. This is what you guys sent. It is a $60 SpongeBob Magic conch shell with like preloaded words and shit. You can like pull the string and it'll price up to you.
Alright.
They don't have anymore. So I found one that is of much lesser quality, but
Alright.
is surely cinema. Mystic Conch Shell version 4 plus, 90 plus lines, non-canon parody of Magic Conch. Kind of looks like it was 3D printed, and maybe that keyboard would break if you pulled it. The mayor of Stupid Town called It's For You. A lot of funny quips from the Magic
See, if I
Conch.
build this,
Should I eat this super delicious burger? No. Mystical Kong. Will I ever get married? Maybe someday. At least if I buy this, my wife will love me again. What? Without the Mystic Kong, I
What
would
means
never
Shelton?
cured my depression. Dude, who is selling this? Money rubbers. Without the Mystic Kong, I would have never cured my depression. Oh, it comes in so many different colorways. Is it the OG purple? Why would I want it to look like Ratatouille? That looks terrible. You have to get that. I think that'll be fucking hilarious. What do you think it's gonna say on it? Alright, next. This is an interesting. I don't even know how this. I don't understand how this product works, if I'm being honest. Like, when I saw this one, I kind of read into it, and it's not really a product.
I use Otter.
A $7 off card from Mark Coppins. So, this guy, Mark Coppins, will hand draw me an image of a moth for $7. Personal mail. And then he'll send you a bunch of images of moths. Who is he? He's Mark Coppins. Here's a review, chat. Receiving this handwritten note from Mark felt like opening a message from the heart of the forest itself.
Oh, there it is.
Words carry warmth and passion. You can feel his love for butterflies and the wild places they come from. It's rare these days to find somebody who pours such authenticity into the work. The little note is now treasured, a reminder that beauty still lies in the simplest, most human ways. Thank you, Mark, for sharing your heart and your journey. I think I can Bro, look at this guy. Looking up a fucking
Alright,
moth,
nice.
a moth image by the fireplace, like with 7 different bunch of playing cards, like a 52 playing card deck, but every card is a different cocktail. That's fucking stupid. No. I don't even care. Okay, I'm glad chat said no, because I was gonna say I'm vetoing. Can we stop? Chat said no. Spicy shit every single. Can we stop? Okay, said no. Spicy shit every single. I stop. Okay, spicy shit. Amazon people like, oh my god, spicy shit. Next one, a replica of a Call of Duty Black Ops ray gun. I believe this is this ray gun Mark 1? Yeah. Or Mark 2. Oh, well, now I just put us in a bit of a conundrum, because you guys are going to answer my question by typing the number, when the number is also supposed to say what version. It's Mark 1. Okay. Oh my god, does it open too? Does it shoot? Is there a video of it working? Or is it just on display? Oh, and it's the mystery box under it. I mean, it's not 3D print, bro. See, it's plastic. It's gonna come in, dude, it's fucking 3D printed. Like, for $142. It does glow. It's put with some sort of fucking electronics. I don't like when it's made from plastic. Whenever there's a nasty product made of plastic, it's fucking 3D printed. I'll give you a glow. I'll tell you right now, this guy is hairy nuts. Look at his forms. Not judging. It's in 20 people's basket. This is probably like the ultimate girlfriend-boyfriend gift. Am I wrong? You have a boyfriend that loves Call of Duty. There's 20 people that have this in their cart for their boyfriend's birthday. Because they know they love Call of Duty and Black Ops Zombies. Great item. Guests love it. Guests love it. We need guests love it. It's a great conversation piece. If somebody says that, they're an NPC. I'm saying, alright, we'll get the fucking $142 ray gun. If somebody says something is a good conversation piece, they are a fucking NPC. Okay?